Good morning, everyone. I want to start with a simple question. Think about the last time you felt really hurt by another person. Maybe it was a friend who forgot about you. Maybe it was a coworker who said something unkind. Maybe it was someone you loved very much, and they walked away. How did that feel in your body? Your chest got tight. Your stomach felt heavy. Your head started to hurt. That pain was real. And there is a reason for that. Today, I want to talk about something every single person in this room experiences: difficult relationships, why they hurt so much, and what we can actually do about them. Because the truth is, relationships are not just emotional. They are biological. They are happening inside your brain and your body every single day. Let me explain. Your brain is a social organ. It was built over millions of years to connect with other people. Scientists call this the social brain hypothesis. Our brains grew large because we needed to understand other people. We needed to read their faces. We needed to know who to trust. We needed to work together to survive. This means that when a relationship goes wrong, your brain does not treat it like a small problem. Your brain treats it like a danger, a real physical danger. There is a small part of your brain called the amygdala. You can think of it as your brain's alarm system. When you feel threatened, the amygdala fires. It sends a signal to your whole body, and your body releases a stress hormone called cortisol. This is helpful when you are running from danger. But in a difficult conversation with your partner or your boss or your friend, cortisol makes things worse. Research shows that when cortisol is high, you cannot think clearly. You cannot solve problems well. You cannot listen carefully. Your brain goes into fight or flight mode. And here is the hard part. You say things you do not mean. You hear things that were not said. You see threats that are not really there. This is not a character flaw. This is biology. And when we understand this, we can start to be a little more patient with ourselves and with the people around us. Now let me tell you about one of the most important studies ever done on human happiness. In 1938, researchers at Harvard University began following a group of people. They tracked their health, their choices, and their lives. For 80 years, the researchers expected to find that money made people happy, or success, or intelligence, or good genes. But the data told a different story. Over and over again, the research showed one thing: the quality of your relationships is the strongest predictor of a long and happy life. Not your salary, not your job title, not your health habits at age 30, your relationships. The lead researcher, Robert Waldinger, said something very clear. He said that a person's relationship satisfaction at age 50 was a better predictor of physical health in old age than their cholesterol levels at the same age. Let that land for a moment. Your relationships are more important to your body than your cholesterol. And in 2010, a researcher named Julian Holt-Lunstad looked at 148 studies involving more than 300,000 people around the world. She found that people with strong social connections were 50% more likely to survive over a given period of time than people with weak ones. 50%. That is not a small number. And in 2023, the United States Surgeon General declared loneliness a public health epidemic. Not a personal problem, a public health crisis, because roughly 1 in 2 American adults reported feeling lonely. These numbers are not about people who live alone. These numbers are about people who are surrounded by others, but still feel disconnected. That is the world we are living in. So if relationships are this important, and they are also this painful, what do? I want to share 3 ideas with you today. Ideas that come from brain science and psychology. Ideas that are simple, but not always easy. The first idea is this: learn to pause before you react. Remember the amygdala we talked about, the alarm system. When it fires, cortisol rises and your thinking brain goes offline. Scientists found something interesting. When people name what they are feeling, the emotional response in the brain becomes smaller. This is called affect labeling. It simply means putting your feelings into words. When you say to yourself, "I feel scared right now," or "I feel rejected right now," something changes in your brain. The prefrontal cortex, which is the thinking part of your brain, starts to become active again. You get a little bit of distance from the feeling. So when a difficult moment arrives, before you say anything, try to find words for what is happening inside you. Not, I am so angry at this person, but I feel hurt. I feel invisible. I feel afraid. This is not about being weak. This is about being smart with your brain. Neuroscience research shows that this simple act of naming feelings can reduce the strength of your emotional reaction significantly. And when your reaction is smaller, you can think more clearly. And when you think more clearly, you can have a real conversation instead of a fight. The second idea is this. Try to understand the other person's brain, not just their words. Every person you meet is carrying a history, their childhood, their past relationships, the things that hurt them before you came along. There is a field called attachment theory, which was developed by the psychologist John Bowlby and later studied by many researchers. It shows that the way we relate to other people as adults is deeply shaped by our experiences when we were very young. If you grew up feeling safe and loved, you probably find it easier to trust people. You can have conflict without feeling like the relationship is ending. But if you grew up in an environment that felt unpredictable or unsafe, your brain learned to be on guard. It learned that closeness can lead to pain. And so when someone gets close to you now, your brain may still send that old warning signal. This is not a choice. This is a pattern that was built very early, and it lives in the nervous system. Now here is why this matters. When someone in your life behaves in a way that hurts you, there is often a reason that has nothing to do with you. They are not broken. They are carrying something old. This does not mean you accept harmful behavior. It does not mean you stay in relationships that damage you. But it does mean that curiosity is more powerful than judgment. Instead of asking, why is this person doing this to me? Try asking, I wonder what this person is afraid of right now. That one question can change everything. Researchers at the University of California found that people who practice this kind of perspective-taking have stronger and longer-lasting relationships. They also experience less personal stress because they stop taking everything personally. And when you stop taking everything personally, your cortisol levels drop. Your body relaxes, and you have more energy for the things that matter. The third idea is perhaps the most important. Learn the difference between connection and comfort. We often avoid difficult conversations because we want to feel comfortable. We stay quiet when something bothers us. We smile when we are hurting. We tell people we are fine when we are not. And for a while, this feels easier. But over time, small unspoken hurts become large invisible walls. A 2024 study from Rutgers University looked at the neural mechanisms of social connection. The researchers found something very clear. Psychological safety, the feeling that you can be honest without being punished, is the foundation of real connection. Not agreement, not always being nice. Psychological safety. This means that the most important thing you can do in a relationship is not to avoid conflict. It is to create a space where honest conversation is possible, where both people can say, this is how I feel, without the other person shutting down or walking away. This takes practice. It takes courage, and it takes a skill that psychologists call active listening. Active listening does not mean waiting for your turn to speak. It means trying to understand what the other person is really saying, and then reflecting it back. You say something like, it sounds like you felt ignored. Is that right? When people feel truly heard, something changes in their brain. Oxytocin is released. Oxytocin is sometimes called the bonding chemical. It reduces the fear response. It increases trust. It makes people feel safer. And when people feel safer, they become more open, more honest, more willing to work things out. So if you want better relationships, practice making people feel heard. Not fixed, not corrected. Heard. Now I want to talk about something that often gets ignored. The relationship with yourself. We spend so much time thinking about how others see us. Am I likable enough? Am I too much? Am I too quiet? Am I too loud? This constant monitoring is exhausting, and it is also a major driver of relationship difficulties. When we do not feel secure in ourselves, we need constant reassurance from other people. We become very sensitive to small signals. We read rejection where none exist. We pull away when we need to get closer. Psychologists call this anxious attachment, and brain imaging studies show that people with high anxiety in relationships have more reactive amygdalae. Their brains are working very hard all the time, scanning for threats. The good news is that this can change. Research published between 2018 and 2024 shows that targeted practices, including mindfulness and certain types of therapy, can produce real changes in brain structure within just 8 weeks. 8 weeks. The brain is not fixed. It is not decided. It is flexible. Scientists call this neuroplasticity, and it means that no matter how difficult your relationships have been, you have the ability to change your patterns. So here is one simple practice to start with. Every day, take a few minutes to notice your own emotional state. Not to judge it, just to notice it. Am I feeling calm? Am I feeling tense? Am I feeling disconnected? When you start to understand your own inner world, you stop projecting it onto other people. You stop thinking, this person is being cold to me, when really, you are the one who feels cold inside. This awareness is the beginning of everything. Let me bring this all together. Difficult relationships are not a sign that something is wrong with you. They are a sign that you are human. Your brain was built for connection, and when that connection is broken or threatened, it hurts. Deeply, physically, biologically. But the same science that shows us why relationships hurt also shows us what we can do. Pause before you react. Name what you feel. Try to understand the other person's history. Create space for honest conversation. Practice making people feel heard. And pay attention to your own inner world. These are not complicated ideas, but they require practice every single day. I want to close with this. The Harvard study, after 80 years of research, came to a conclusion that is both simple and profound. The people who were happiest and healthiest at the end of their lives were not the richest ones. They were not the most famous ones. They were the ones who had built warm, honest, connected relationships. That is what your brain is designed for. That is what your life is designed for. Relationships will always be difficult sometimes, but they are also the most important thing you will ever invest in. So take the time, take the courage, and start one conversation today that you have been putting off. Not the easy conversation, the honest one. Thank you.